evening, Los Santos. Welcome to our lovely show, the podcast with Abdul and Mr. Johnny right here. Mr. Johnny, go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name's Johnny Paps, and I run a podcast here called Papstalk.
Oh, very nice of you to give a shout out to your own podcast. Well, producer, cut. This guy is fucking giving shout out to his own podcast and my podcast.
Let's take two. Starting in 3, 2, 1.
Good evening and good morning and good afternoon to wherever you are in the world. Live from Los Santos. This is the podcast with Abdul, your favorite host. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Mr. Guest.
My name is Johnny.
Okay, that's enough. Thank you. Today, Mr. Johnny joins us, to introduce himself and basically tell us about his life in Los Santos. Right, Mr. Johnny?
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I'd love to learn about
That's enough. That's enough. You don't have to take too much screen time, okay? Let the show begin. Now, this is where we play the intro. Play the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the famous, the infamous, the one that gets you from A to B, the one and only Abdul on the show.
Don't be a fool.
Abdul, welcome. How are you?
All good, Habibi. How you doing?
All good. There's a lot of people that use your services, a lot of people that call for a taxi if they're not a fucking fool. But it's tradition around here to get the guests to introduce themselves to the listener. So in your own words, Abdul, who are you?
Are you searching for reliable trucking services in San Andreas? Look no further than Couso Trucking Company Limited. Couso Trucking pride themselves on delivering more than just cargo. They deliver excellence. Their state-of-the-art trucks and experienced drivers ensure your shipments reach their destinations safely and on time. Choose Couso Trucking Co. for reliability and a commitment to exceeding your expectations. Because at Couso, they don't just move cargo, they move your success forward. Call Couso Trucking today for a quote and experience the Couso difference.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Abdul AlRahim. I am a philanthropist, a taxi driver, the former mayor, the former two-time supreme leader, the cyclist pain, I fuck cyclists up,
Oh.
Yeah, I do that all the time, yeah. The biggest drug lord in this town, If you need to buy weed in bulk, hit me up. I deliver it to you in my taxi, no problem. Only bulk orders, please. Thank you. Also, we do have a good inventory of police guns, but careful, they're extra hot. Only 20,000 per gun. Hit me up. You find my number in the yellow pages.
That's a large list of things that you do, and we can break it down a little bit one by one. But tell us a little bit about your history. Where are you from? How was it when you first moved here?
Where am I from? Let me tell you where I'm from. I come from a town called Silver Lake. You know Silver Lake? Ever heard of it?
I've heard of it, but I've never been there myself. No.
Silver Lake was basically a small island, where they threw all convicts and left them there to run their own country and their own government, basically.
Wow.
Kind of like Australia.
Oh, okay.
And over there, there was a lack of transportation. We did not have, one of the things we did not have over there is locals. So the roads were mostly empty.
Yeah.
Most of the time, And thank God we had no emus, so we're Gucci with that, didn't end up like Australia. Basically, I thought, we had a problem, no transportation. What is this country gonna do? So I invented taxi, where you can call a man to come and pick you up and take you to a location that you would like to go for a fee. But taxi wasn't enough alone, So I started pioneering it, one step after the other. I had to do some extra hustling because not everybody needs taxi. So I decided, you know what? It's time to go to Los Santos, the city of dreams, and start my own taxi company. And so I did. I moved to Los Santos, came here, started with freelance taxi, started fucking up some gangsters who were trying to take over my turf. They were going around in their small, tiny taxis trying to pick up people and kidnapping them or use them as hostages for bank robbery. Sometimes they use them as props as well. And the customers, slowly but surely stopped calling taxis. That's why I had to come in, and change the idea of taxi. So not only we would take them from point A to point B, we used to also giving them information that are valuable, and only a taxi driver would know it. From A to B, Abdul, you got your back,
Incredible. So seeing a problem and kind of providing a solution, that entrepreneur mindset was there from even before you moved to Los Santos. But you did list a whole bunch of things. You were mayor back in the day. There's a lot of things that you were able to achieve. How hard was it? Kind of when you first started, let's use the mayor for an example. How hard was it to infiltrate the government system, coming from such a humble background, from Silver Lake and moving here with a simple dream in mind to becoming fucking mayor, dude? That's huge.
Hey, thank you for asking me this question, Johnny. Actually, honestly, the answer is very simple. Casual terrorism.
Oh.
Yeah. I ordered some hits on a fellow candidates, right and left, One time, there was one of the candidates was in a blimp, trying to advertise himself, so people would vote for him. And then I hired Rami and Rahman, to get a nice RPG and shoot that blimp there. We had blimp wars back then, and the city was raining blimps on fire, right and left. And thanks to that, we won the elections. And not only we won the elections, but myself and my team of deputy mayors proved ourselves to be worthy for a second term in office. And we did.
There has been a little bit of information when we were doing research about the end of term 2 for you. That was a little more difficult. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
That was a long time ago, though. Basically, I was the only mayor to get impeached from office. It's a long story, but let me tell you something, Johnny. When you innovate, the people that are gate holders, they will feel threatened, And at that time, I wanted to innovate because as a mayor, I noticed there was a problem. I used to get multiple police officers from multiple departments and multiple special forces in the police office, like detective unit, crime and investigation unit, hot pursuit unit. Each leader from them comes to me asking for more budget, So I was like, there has to be a solution. So I invented a new position in the police force that is called the commissioner of the police force. His duty is to basically negotiate budget with me for all departments and all units. I made it so that person also has the stature of high command, which, let's just say, it scared the shit out of the fucking police. They were terrified because they were really afraid that I would destroy the balance. So what they did is they used every resource they could do to investigate me and made up some bullshit case about me embezzling money. And they took me to court and there was an impeachment hearing. Now, at that time, the supreme judge of that court is the current supreme judge until now, Judge Crane. You know Judge Crane?
I've heard the name, but we haven't met yet.
He's a grumpy old man. Judge Crane found that the police did not have any sufficient evidence of me embezzling. So what happened is the senates who were behind the judge, they wanted me out. Why? Why did they want me out? Because they came up to me and they told me to embezzle money for them, and I refused because the people were the ones who put me in the office. Not the judges, not the police, not the senators. No, the people did. And they realized how powerful I have become. So they had to get rid of me either way. So they just said, Abdul, the mayor Abdul, I find you not guilty of embezzlement, but I do find you guilty of being competent to be fit to be mayor. And then, imagine this, a judge gets to decide if I'm competent or not. And he told me I am basically, no longer fit to be a mayor and I should leave my office immediately. Not the people who put me in there, a freaking judge.
Yeah, that's an incredible story, and one that I could feel still lingers. You still have a little bit of resentment towards that.
Well, yeah, I do. But I guess I flew too close to the sun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. But going back to what we were talking about, we did have Rami on one of the episodes earlier.
How?
On that episode, we also talked a little bit about the chaos that happened over the last 5-6 years, the war that went down, and how hard it was for everybody. How was it for you? Economy crashed. There was a fucking war. What were you doing over the last 5 years, Abdul?
Well, in the past 5 years, I was enjoying a nice vacation, Listen, I have 2 children, huh? I never take more, to be honest with you. Rami is the first child, actually. I don't know if he mentioned this in the last podcast.
No, he didn't. That's news to me. Yeah, that's
Yep,
great.
that's typical Rami. Yep, he forgets his roots, that fucker, I remember back in the day, he didn't even know how to rob someone, I had to teach him. I had to put a gun in his hand, take him to an alley, let him call, a competitor taxi. The competitor taxi come, Rami gets his gun out, points it at the taxi and tell him to get out of the car. You know what happens?
What happened?
The guy doesn't even get intimidated. He just drives away. And Rami didn't have the balls to shoot. So the guy came back, gets out of his taxi and shoots Rami down.
Yeah, that must have been a huge learning curve. But how did it feel for you to see your son in such a vulnerable position?
Well, honestly, I left my ass off, to be honest with you. I thought I was hysterical, But it's still, it bothered me because it brought shame to our family, So after that, we took him into an intense regime, intense training. We made a good criminal out of him. Very smart one as well. Very smart. Rami, he's one of the brightest.
Yeah, I mean, especially now with the record, I think he's at like 26-0 or something in terms of defeats and wins in the courtroom.
Oh my!
Another person that we had on the show was the current Mayor Thoroughbred, and he also had a history of terrorism. That seems to be a theme with a lot of people that we've actually spoken to here.
Yeah.
Would you say reform and kind of changing from a convicted terrorist or someone that's on the other side of the law into business owner, entrepreneur, mayor, government employee, that kind of stuff is achievable?
Johnny, come on. We all know that's bullshit, okay? We all know that's bullshit. Yeah, he just became a better terrorist. Let's just say that,
Okay.
He's no longer he's no longer a convict, he's just better, He has other people to do the dirty work for him,
And those other people are kind of the police force. What's your relationship with the PD?
Well, first of all, did you know that the police is actually a gang?
The most organized gang in the city?
Exactly. That is also paid by the city, provided, equipment by the city. And, the better training, better organization, better equipment. And that's it. Police are actually a gang. And this is coming from me, who happens to be also a former police officer.
Wow. Is there anything you didn't do, Abdul? I feel like you've done everything under the sun.
I am a very versatile man. I am an adventurous man. I like, to have a touch of everything. I'm a jack of all trades, master of all. My time at the police force was depressing as fuck, to be honest with you. I felt like I was a puppet,
Yeah.
I was being restrained. They couldn't let me flourish. I had a lot of superiors who had their stick up their ass. Oh my God, though I fucking hate them. I'm glad they all lost their jobs.
I wanted to dive into a little bit of the police force that is currently in power, let's say, or currently running the PD. Because I saw a couple of days ago you twat out something about Officer Shiesty. That was
hashtag fuck Officer Shiesty.
That's the one that I wanted to reference. Yeah. Well, what is your relationship with the new gang? The new PD?
In the ever-changing city of Los Santos, a legal revolution is underway. Chief Justice Crane's mandate ushers in a new era, requiring all contracts to bear a bar-certified attorney's signature for legitimacy by February 21st. Time is of the essence, and in a city of surprises, Xavier Monroe, your steadfast legal expert, will ensure your contracts not only meet but exceed the new standards. Dial 420 756 7484 today and let Xavier safeguard your interests with ironclad contracts. Xavier Monroe, he's not just a lawyer, but your champion in the legal arena.
Basically, Officer Shiesty has been investigating me for the past 2 weeks. He's suspecting me of doing guns trading, which honestly he's pretty right, but he still can't get any evidence, you know? And obviously, yours truly, Abdul, is a slippery man. I've got a whole network of, I'm like the spider web, you know, of the criminal underground. People pay me, people get what they need. That's all I'm gonna say, you know? I don't want to implicate myself too much, but people pay me, people get what they need. And Officer Shiesty has been, you know, a bit sniffing a bit too close to me, let's just say. You know, trying to harass me, you know, trying to use his power to make me be afraid of him. I'm not backing up, obviously.
You know, in preparation for our sit down, I spoke to a couple of people from around the city, asking them, you know, we're going to have Abdul on the show. What would you like to hear him talk about? And there's a bunch of people that were talking a little bit about kind of something that you mentioned earlier. There, you make a problem and then provide a solution. Specifically, the two points came up is that you how do I say this politely? You run people over with a taxi so that you can drive them to the hospital and charge them for a taxi ride. I'm not saying that that's what happens. I'm just saying that's what they said. What are your thoughts on that claim?
I do not run people over, Mr. Johnny. They meant I run cyclists over.
Oh, okay. So it's specifically people on bicycles.
That is correct. That is correct. People on bicycles, you know? Because people on bicycles are no longer people. They are literally nobodies, you know? They lose their identity by getting on the bicycle. They lose all their human rights. They don't even pay road taxes, you know? They don't use any repair mechanics shops, you know? They don't pay any taxations on the gas. They don't use any gas. They just use the road. Roads that takes us millions of dollars to actually build. And for what? Their highnesses? Well, they can fucking taste it then. And that's why I'm gonna keep on running cyclists day after day.
What would be your dream to see when it comes to bicycles in the city? Would you like them to be taxed and stuff, or do you just want to get rid of them?
I want to get rid of them, Johnny. You know, they never did good to anybody. You know what? Go to the south side. Go to Forum Drive. You'll notice all the drug pushers are on bicycles. And whenever the police are coming up to them to arrest them, all they do is get in the tight alleys and get away. On a bicycle. On a freaking bicycle, Johnny.
Yeah.
No plates, no mirrors, untraced. You know.
Yeah, it is a problem. It is a problem. I've also encountered not necessarily the issue of them taking up space, but even when you're driving, they don't seem to understand that they should stay away from the car. They drive directly in the middle of the road and try to swerve in front of you. I end up accidentally hitting them either way, you know?
They don't even have driving licenses. They're not required to get one, okay? They don't have any side mirrors. They don't wear helmets. They don't wear glow-in-the-dark vests. And you know how dark it gets in Los Santos at night, right, Johnny?
Yeah, absolutely.
And even, you know, if you managed by some miracle to avoid them, they wouldn't actually think about avoiding you. They would use your car to actually do some cool jumps and cool stunts, is what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what I do to them when they do that to me?
Tell me.
I grab the bicycle and I grab them, huh? I put them like in a pile all together. I grab me a very nice pipe bomb. I just put it on top of them. Voila.
Yeah, that's
It's a beautiful scene, Johnny. I wish if you've seen it with me.
I mean, I'm not sure if I necessarily would want to, but you definitely painted a beautiful picture. I can see the debris in your description.
It's artistic.
Very, very much so. Yeah, absolutely. You seem very passionate about getting rid of bicycles. What else is Abdul passionate about? Tell the people what boils your blood.
Oh, what boils my blood? what I'm passionate about or what angers me?
I mean, anger is a form of passion, right?
Well, yeah, but I'm a man of many passions, Johnny.
This is true. This is true. Let's start with another thing that angers Mr. Abdul.
One thing that angers me, the city council. They're trying to basically destroy taxi driving by introducing to us, this Goober business bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever used Goober, Johnny, as a customer?
No, I have not at all.
Well, let me tell you about Goober.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? As a consumer, you don't really get anybody to come and pick you up once you request a ride. And if you cancel it, you lose 50% of the money that you were going to pay to the rider. So it's a big scam. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And as a driver, you only get local cars. And you drive as safely, as slowly as possible. You take the right turns correctly. And the fucking application, you know what tells you? You're driving dangerously. We're going to deduct money off you.
Yeah, I've seen that one before.
You see what I mean? Nobody cares. Everybody cares about G6, Grimes, sanitation, everybody getting new trucks, everybody getting more money, everybody's happy. But what about fucking Goober? Nothing, Johnny. It's still the same fucking shitty app since day one. And what makes it even worse, they don't sell taxis at Mosley's. So if you want to be a taxi driver and paint your car so it would, go well with your identity, you have to at least, go like for a 1 week rent because you want to make that $500 paint, be a good profit. And you know how much that costs altogether? $7,500, Johnny.
Oh my God, that's a lot of money.
Imagine, they expect us, taxi drivers who's getting tipped $20, $30, $50 max a day, to actually be able to afford it. The Glendale is cheaper. The Seminole is cheaper. The Ingot, cheaper. And you know what makes it even worse? Those fucking grinders, Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
They go sign in as a lumberjack, get the lumberjack truck, and don't actually do their job. Instead, they just use the truck to go around in the regular day errands,
Oh, we get that here at the Weasel News Trucks as well. Everybody comes
I was
in.
going to get to that, actually, Johnny. I was going to get to that. And the same with the Weasel News vans. They're everywhere. You see them parked at the G6. You see them parked at the sanitation. You see them parked at the Grimes. The Hunters. Same bullshit. Different car. So how are us taxi drivers right now supposed to survive? While City Hall, they're fucking, changing the speed limits instead of actually checking the people that using the roads are the taxi drivers who need more than this. They don't care about us, Johnny. All they care about is profit, money. All they think about is how we're going to find them harder. That's what I'm angry about. That is my passion right now. To literally, grab this new mayor by the neck, I throw him off the highest tower. After he's falling in midair, I rewind time so he comes back up, and then I will throw him back down again. And then I throw back time up, and then I throw him back down again. And then put a big, gigantic dildo at the very bottom, and make sure he lands right on his ass on that dildo. It has to be wooden.
Oh, it's a very intricate setup. It's definitely very intricate. We talked about money in general, but you are one of the very few people I've seen that go solely on a flexible rate in general. How does that work?
Let me explain to you. There is two types of people, or multiple types of people. There's a guy who just came from the airport, arrived in town, didn't have much savings, spent everything in the plane tickets, and getting his furniture from outside, and has something like, I don't know, a couple of $1,000 in his bank account. Imagine I show up, pick him up from the airport, take him to the apartment, and tell him, hello, sir, that will be $500. The man would be so traumatized, he'll never call for a taxi again.
That's true.
So I tell them, you know what, you can pay whatever you can. So they pay me like 20 or 30 or 40. I still take it. Why? Because I know this man in the future, he'll be able to pay me more. And that's what happens. He becomes a G6 trucker, makes a lot of money every day, calls me. I go pick him up from the headquarters. I take him home. And guess what he pays me? He pays me $300, $400. Imagine, from headquarters of G6 to the apartments. $400, Johnny. I did that literally in a minute.
You know, I was one of those guys, Abdul. The very first day, you gave me a ride. I didn't have a lot of money on me, and then a couple of weeks after I needed a ride, you hooked us up. Will and I here, who's producer on the show, and
Hello, Will.
yeah, we were able to pay up a little bit and made sure that you were paid handsomely that day. So it is true. I'm a witness to that.
You see what I mean? And thanks to that, people, whenever they need taxi or whenever they need Abdul, they don't hesitate. They don't look at their bank account and go like, oh shit, I need taxi, but I cannot afford it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They
Absolutely.
can confidently call Abdul. They go like, Abdul would understand. And call me, I come pick them up, take them to the location. At the end of the day, I don't want your money. What I want is your company. It's the more calls I get, the happier I get, And these rentals hasn't been helping, especially that the rentals has been right in front of the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So as you see, the city council don't really support us, They want us to suffer. They want to give the people the option, to go and rent a car and pay shitload of tax for it. And imagine they park illegally. It gets impounded. They go and pay more taxes. Correct?
Absolutely.
All that money goes to the city hall. It goes to that corrupt ass terrorist, So instead of putting it far away, so they incentivize people to call for taxi, they put it right in front of the doorstep. Skip the taxi driver. Skip the local business. You don't want to pay him because we don't really get anything on from taxing him because people paying me in cash. Yeah, fuck you, City Hall. I ain't paying nothing in tax. You pieces of shit. Sue me.
Yeah, it is, a very difficult situation to be in. What is the absolute dream for you, Abdul, when it comes to taxi services and Los Santos?
When it comes to taxi, I say I already fulfilled my dream. 5 years ago, I built the greatest taxi empire, Abdul Taxi Services. We had a phone application with a list of drivers on it. People didn't even have to go through the yellow pages. They just click the app and then they click on the taxi driver they want. And voila, you speak it to the taxi driver. He comes and pick you up straight away. Now, you got Goober. Honestly, I feel sorry for you guys now. Me, I already did my company. I did us all proud. Our company was the greatest taxi company ever. Until now, whenever I pick people up, they ask me to hire them and make a new taxi company. But I'm retired now. All I do is freelancing. I basically give these citizens a service that they cannot get from Goober, sadly. But my new passion now is to make sure that everybody is given the services they are looking for. Whatever that is, If it's getting away from a bank robbery, I got you. Abdul got you. The taxi's right there. You get in the taxi, I get you away from the police. Those donkeys, they don't know how to drive. I had a warrant for 10 days and I was still taxiing around. You know how many times the police put me in a chase?
How many times?
More than 20.
Wow.
And they always call off the chase because the cars get smoky. It gets dangerous for them. It goes like, okay, we can't see from the smoke and the windshield. We can't see. Let's fall back. The donkeys, they're not even well trained. I don't know what happened to the police veterans, but hey, I'm glad there is no veterans now. I get to bully them like little people.
Absolutely, anything under the sun. Whether you need a quick getaway, whether you need a ride to the apartments, whether you need something delivered, you've got all that covered.
You need a repair kit? I deliver it to you. You want food? You don't want to get stabbed that's in your buns? I got that for you. You want a gun? I got that for you. You want weed breaks? I got that for you. Anything you want, anything you desire, call Abdul. I got you. No problem.
You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. Abdul, we're going to wind down. I like to ask this question at the very end of the show because it's just after now that we've talked about your life. It's a good way to get to the very start of it, so to speak. So if you had a time machine and you were able to go back in time to young Abdul, Silver Lake Abdul, just before everything went down, before the taxi empire and the mayorship and everything, that you've been through, and you were able to give young Abdul a piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Patience. That'll be it. That's it. I tell him to be patient. Your best days are ahead of you.
Have patience.
Because right now I'm living the dream, man. You know, I give you no bullshit. I think, you know, I am the most influential man in this town. I don't think anybody knows as many people as I do.
I will back that up. I have not met somebody where we mentioned your name or seen your taxi driver around that did not know that was Abdul.
And that's what it means to be, you know, the most influential man in this town.
Incredible. We'll end it there. The most influential man in the town, Mr. Abdul, thank you so much for your time. I know time is money, and sitting here talking to me has been very taxing on you, so to speak, but we really appreciate it here on Papstalk. Everybody that's listening, make sure you tip the people that are giving you out free tapes. And Abdul, we end the show officially by you saying the words, hit the outro. So whenever you're ready, say whatever you want to the listeners. And when you say hit the outro, that's when we wrap it up.
Yo, guys, remember, don't be a fool. Always ride with Abdul. Hit the outro.